delivery are the midwives. These are always there to usher in new life. Now today, I have the president of the Uganda Nurses and Midwives Union, Justice Chiplangat Cheprop, with whom we are going to be looking at the International Nurses Day. This is going to take place on the 12th of May. Now, this is an annual event globally celebrated to recognize the efforts, the challenges, and of course the achievements of people in this fraternity. Join me, welcome my guest. Good morning, Justice.
Good morning. How are you, viewers? My name is Justice Cherop, the president of Uganda Nurses and Midwives Union. Thank you for being here.
I'm happy having you this morning. Of course, I know you're all gearing up, preparing for this day. But to begin with, when you talk about this Uganda Nurses and Midwives Union, what do you do? What is your mandate?
Yeah, thank you very much, Presenter. Uganda Nurses and Midwives Union is a recognized union by government, certified by government, regulated by Ministry of Labor and Gender, and we are there as an entity to advocate for the nurses, midwives of this country. Our major call or major issues that we tackle is that we advocate for the welfare, well-being of a nurse, a midwife, in the workplace, outside the workplace, wherever the nurse could be. That is our major role as the union, and also bring together nurses and midwives to form a fraternity that helps the government to move health forward. And of course, if you leave nurses scattered, to leave midwives scattered, they may not address the health issues in the country. So that's why the health system in Uganda is better than before, because nurses are organized, midwives are organized, and they have the regulatory body, which is Uganda Nurses and Midwives Council, which also regulate their practices wherever they are doing, including pharmacies, including clinics. They regulate them. We follow them and see what they are doing exactly. That's why the nursing and midwifery fraternity is perfect these days, because all those areas are governed, and they are governed by regulations and laws of this country. We have what we call Nurses and Midwives Act, which if you do beyond what you are not supposed to do, the act will deal with you. And it was enacted in Parliament. So such things brings us together and discuss and say, what do we do best in order to make sure that the act we don't go beyond the act, we don't do things beyond the act. We must be regulated, we must be governed, we must be together, we must be in solidarity for our profession.
Now that was said, it brings me to ask, yes, we all have been to hospitals, to clinics, and we've met nurses, but in the medical or treatment chain, how relevant is a nurse to draw this attention? Because this is a person we're going to be talking about in the entire treatment chain. Most of the times we talk about doctors, we talk about consultants, we talk about surgeons, because when someone knows that they're going to theater, well, surgeons, but rarely do we bring out the plight of nurses.
Yeah, very good. It is actually unfortunate. 78% of workforce is nursing and midwives. The other small percentage is the one you are talking about surgeons, physicians, and others, clinicians. But look here, when you enter the entry of the hospital right now, the first person you see is a nurse. The first person to take you all the vitals through. You tell him that I feel headache, I feel joint pains, I feel stomachache. It is a nurse and a midwife. Take, for example, even your wife is in labor. The first person is a midwife. Please, I am in labor. She examines you, she does everything, and she delivers the mother. If there is only a complication, is when that midwife will need support from another person, like a gynecologist, like a senior doctor. So, who has seen you first? Now, even the time when we discharge this mother, the doctor will just come. It is rare that even if it is normal delivery, the mother will go home with her baby, well treated, with a midwife. And even without the doctor knowing. Now, look here, the doctor will know only that how many deliveries were done. If they were all successful deliveries, the blight should be for the midwife. But at the end of the day, the blight will go to the doctor because he was in charge. They said this health facility is doing very good. There is no cesarean section. Their delivery is good. Yet it was a midwife. But it was just unfortunate in this country. It is only in this country which people don't take midwives, don't take nurses serious. Seriousness when you come and you are supposed to go to theater, as you have given example. The surgeon, you will see only the surgeon in theater. You will never even see the surgeon anyway. He comes to review you, plans for you for tomorrow, then for him he goes. Whoever prepares you, counseling you that please, this treatment you are going through, it is going to be like this, but other people also have gone through and they're okay. Meaning that the nurse is doing her part. Then from there, she's the one to take you to theater. She's the one to look for clothes for you to dress on. She's the one even to prepare you to get that injection. And that injection, you will not see a surgeon. You will undergo operation and you go to main ward unconscious. The person you last saw is a nurse. Even when during your death, the doctor, many patients, if you extract an eye of somebody, the last person that person has seen is a nurse. Before dying, doctor will not be there when the person is dying. He gives medicine. Now for you keep on giving this medicine. If the condition worsens, it is the nurse to see you off. Now, take the example that you have died today. There is what we call last office, which we do, we prepare this person according to the culture of that person and religion. If you are a Muslim, we prepare you according to Islam. If you are a pagan, we prepare you according to that. So it is a nurse who washes, cleans you, dresses you smartly, and makes sure that you are entering mortuary when you are smart, prepared, there is no oozing of blood anywhere. Doctor cannot do that. Doctor cannot do that. It is out of its prescription. So the importance of a nurse here is that it sees you in and the nurse also sees you out. Whether you are alive or dead. Thank you.
While now having given us how important they are in the health chain of this country, 12th May is International Nurses Day. First, these days, we have so many international days. But let's try to draw meaning to this particular day when it comes to that day for nurses. What's the aim of celebrating this? We've had a number of challenges from members of your fraternity. There have been a number of battles here and there in terms of yearning for salary, in increment, in terms of their welfare. Is there a reason for nurses in Uganda to celebrate this day?
Yeah, well, International Nurses Day is cassetted since 1974 worldwide, because we saw, by then they saw that the nurses Day should be celebrated because the work they do, the problems they undergo, it actually made them to think that this day is was to be celebrated. International Council of Nurses, it was formed in order to make sure that the nurses worldwide come together. Now, in 1974, they declare 12th May to be a day considered for these nurses celebrations. The reason is very simple. We remember the founder of modern nursing, who is none other than Nightingale Florence, who was nursing patients during the war, World War. She came up in the Caribbean and said she should nurse the nurses. She should nurse the patients. People were dying, wounds were just rotting, that they have shot somebody during the war, and nobody could clean. Doctors could just write medicine, but nobody could continue cleaning that wound. Then this lady came out as an individual, said that after getting medicine, let me be cleaning you, let me be giving you water, let me be shaving your head, let me be shaving your brevis, and you look smart as you heal. So the war continued, and many people died, but this lady could prepare even those who have died for burial. Now, this day is marked for nurses, and there is also a day for midwives. I don't want to forget that. Midwives Day is also celebrated to recognize the work of a midwife in the whole world. And in Uganda here, we are going to celebrate in Soroti, and I welcome everybody to be in Soroti. We have already prepared on 5th May, every midwife, all routes lead to Soroti. And of course, there are those who are both midwives and nurses. So these days we don't celebrate that as midwives alone. We also join them, and you can also join us as a press. And also now, the main one is also International Nurses Day celebrations, which is going to be in Arua City, hosted by Arua City and the West Nile as a whole. Now, as a country, we celebrate that 12th May and then 5th May of midwife. But internationally, we are going to celebrate Indonesia, Bali, the capital city of Indonesia, for midwives. So we also call upon those who can have tickets to go and join our colleagues international in Bali, to Indonesia. And for me, International Nurses Day, we are going also to celebrate in Montreal, Canada, in June. So I also call upon those who can afford tickets. After our national celebrations here, we also go and join our colleagues internationally. So briefly, West Nile as a whole, particularly Arua City, is the host of International Nurses Day. And this day, we expect a lot to be done, because we have been not celebrating the last 2 years during COVID-19. We celebrated last year in Kamuli, and the number was very big, but of course we were still having restrictions of COVID-19. But of course, as if they have declared Ebola-free country and COVID-19 free, but we are not so much free. We shall also be aware of those, and all roads will lead to Arua City.
Okay.
Now, our guest of honor is actually His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda. He has never failed to come to our celebrations, and the major celebrations will be in Muni University. And of course, we are still expecting that the guest of honor will be the President of the Republic of Uganda, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. He has never, since we began with him, since he began coming as a president, he has been celebrating with us.
Okay,
so we expect him, and we call upon the ministers, the MPs, the local, the community to join the Nurses Day in Arua.
Now, when we talk about celebration, away from just saying this is an international day, it was gazetted, we commemorate, therefore we have to celebrate it in Uganda. What achievements do you have on table that warrant celebration as nurses in Uganda?
Yeah, thank you very much. As we go to celebrate this day of International Nurses Day, there are also other achievements which we have got. Mm-hmm. Achievement can be based on annual achievement. Others can be based on quarterly. But in general, we have achieved as nurses and midwives this time as the following. One, of course, we negotiated salaries. You saw us making noise left and right. But I thank the government for quickly coming up and said nurses deserve this. So one of the major achievements is achieving salary increment enhancement. And it was nurses which brought this agenda, and good enough. Every health worker is very happy with it. We have got it. Unfortunately, even if the government has not reached to our expectations, but of course, even if as a family, you may not reach expectations of your children, your own children, there must be caps. But we pray that those caps can be put in place one or the other, slowly. And expect this year to have something more good than that. Number two, we have as nurses, the health insurance, which the bill, health insurance bill, which has been in Parliament for long. For us, we have come out and do very fast and say, let us have our own health insurance. So we achieved this last October, health insurance for the nurses. All the nurses are insured with us, with the ISAIA. ISAIA is a company which gives insurance. So all the nurses who are members of the union have got that insurance, particularly on two things. One, death arrangements. That's why you can see A+ barring nurses. It shocked the government, it shocked everybody that nurses have gone far to use A+ burial. So we look at having decent burial for our colleagues if they depart this world. Due to all circumstances, we must die. Natural death, calamities, anything. So we said we need to have nurses buried decently. And then two, those nurses who become sick on chronic illnesses, for example, diabetes, cancers, hypertension, those ones, chronic illness, we pay for their medication. So whoever is still out there and has been diagnosed, you are a nurse, you are a midwife, and you have all chronic illnesses, please contact our project office, contact our office, secretariat, and you get treated. We pay you medication, and we pay you a transport refund to go back when you have been diagnosed as a patient. Number three, we have gone ahead to help government procure or solicit for mama kits. Mama kits are midwifery based kits. A midwife delivering a mother. There are so many equipment that the midwife needs. So we have helped the government to partner with some organizations abroad, and we have supplied health center 3s and health center 4s countrywide midwifery kits. And that package of midwifery kit, it has everything that it will help the mother, the baby, and the nurse, the midwife. It is a full package which can take, can deliver 50 births within a given time. And it will last for 15 years in that facility. So the government will have less contribution to that effort, because we have come in to support the government, and the new consignment now, Last week, I went to the United States, where they manufacture this thing, with the permanent secretary, Minister of Health. She went and saw the manufacturers, and we were given credit to have supplied these things to the government. So we have achieved that. Our nurses now, our mothers, our children may not die of, we shall register this year less mortality rate, child mortality rate less. Then we have also gone ahead and solicit for more to have PPEs available. So in
that is personal protective equipment.
Personal protective equipment. We brought them last week. They're in our stores. We are distributing them with the help of Ministry of Health. Next week, we have asked them only to give us fuel to take these PPEs to regional referral hospitals. That is also an achievement, and we have made that partnership with them for more 5 years. So our government will benefit from these midwifery kits in all health delivering centers, Health Center 3, Health Center 4, and by chance we can add in the district. Number 4, which we have achieved as well as Nurses Union, is that we are looking at career advancement.
Okay.
After the degree, after the PhD, after the masters of nurses or midwife, we are looking at specialty in nursing. So if you look at Mulago here, it is called specialized hospital, but there are no specialty in nursing, in midwifery. We are trained on job and you learn certain things.
Yes.
So having got that dream as a union, as nurses, as midwives, we have established this year a specialized university which is going to be called Uganda Nurses Specialized University. And this university is going to focus on postgraduate specialties. After your master's, you come and do some specialty here. For example, you will be an oncology nurse, you will be cardiology nurse, you will be urology nurse, you will be a women specialized nurse or midwife. So that achievement has come, and we have put up a structure there which is showing that a university is coming. And we have also partnered with California University, and we are also hoping to partner with Tasmania University in Australia to support the university. Now we have got support already from California University to establish a university. So right now we are continuing establishing the university. And this university particularly was placed by His Excellency the President. Because when I told him about the specialty, he gave me the scholarship, trade scholarship for nurses. I took some nurses to Nairobi University.
Yeah, because at least I know Nairobi has that.
Nairobi
I remember
has
one
that.
time I had a patient and they told us, I don't know the term they use, I don't want to blunder, but an expert with of wounds, a nurse that specializes in handling wounds.
Yes.
And they said, well, we are looking for that specialist. And I was like, but back home, a nurse is a nurse. I mean, maybe the levels of qualification, they don't know. Nurses specialize. Now for this patient, there is a nurse who is an expert in on that. And I was,
Yes. For example, we have only one course in critical care in Barara University. Makerere is hoping to have it. Other universities are hoping to have it. But specialty is not there in Uganda universities. So when the president gave us the scholarship, I took 2 nurses rushed to come to Nairobi, but it was expensive. I took another one in South Africa. It was too expensive. Then I went back to the president and said, look, can we have a specialty in Uganda? He said, well, you can do it. I said, I don't have land. I don't have this. So when he gave us the land title, he gave us everything. So we have got, one of the achievements, we have got a land title at Mulago there. And that land is purely for the nurses and for the speciality.
Sometime back I heard that Chiplangat had sold this land.
You know, of course, what do you expect people to say? Because when
You sold the land and there was some construction happening where members of the union didn't know. Why did you sell the land?
Well, we have never sold the land because selling the land, there's no sales agreement.
So what did you do that people think you sold the land?
No, what happens exactly with the land, having given the instruction to look for the title. We looked for the title. The Uganda Lands Commission gave us the title under Uganda Nurses and Midwife Union. And then we said, let us have to develop the land. And we had, of course, we had partners to come in to develop the land, to build up the structure. And now when we build up the structure, people could not expect that nurses can do that.
Yes.
So they think that maybe the land was sold. So we got instructions from left and right to be investigated. And we were investigated, and the title was brought forth. There is no sales agreement, the title is there, and the university has kicked on with 15 students. Right now we have 15 students who are doing online. And now we are going to shift, if the land expands and the building is expanding, we are going to have more students who are coming. So that is one of our achievements. The land title was achieved, and the university has been established, and we have started with 15 students on critical care, specifically critical care. So those are the achievements so far we have achieved, and there are so many projects which are coming in on this order as nurses and midwives.
Okay, well, we've been discussing the achievements. We shall go for a short break, and when we return, we want to look at the challenges, among them being also some of the challenges that the pre-interns or pre-intern nurses face. We return shortly. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Program My School, a great students program and your answer to education perspective, giving you reason as to why you should pay school fees for a child's education, with items like students' talents, thoughts, adventures, and skills showcased, leadership skills, and all other activities plus concerts in various schools in your locations. Remember that our children are our future generation. Don't miss Program My School.
The Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, under the auspices of the East African Community, will host the 10th East African Petroleum Conference and Exhibition 2023 from the 9th to the 11th of May 2023 at the Kampala Serena Hotel in Uganda. Take full advantage of the investment opportunities in the East African region's vibrant oil and gas sector. To find out more on how to sponsor, exhibit, or attend the 10th EAPCE 23, visit www.eapce23.eac.int.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
Get away with MTN Momo Advance. Momo Advance tops up your Momo to complete your transactions. Dial star 165 star 5 star 3 hash to apply. MTN Momo Advance is always available when you need it.
Do you hear it? Do you see it?
In Uganda, Tanzania.
That's the sound of business in a developing economy.
For UBC News,
Charlotte Amoge in Kampala.
Catch the weekly business roundup every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. only on UBC TV, Inspire Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Welcome back and thank you for being with us on UBC TV. We are still looking at the International Day of Nurses that is going to be marked or celebrated on the 12th of May. And of course, joining me on set for those who have just tuned in or watching us, I have the president of the Uganda Nurses and Midwives Union, that is Justice Chiplangat. And also I'm joined by a pre-intern nurse, that is Nancha Shanita, with whom we're also going to be discussing. Now, we've looked at the achievements and reasons why nurses must celebrate. Now, I also want to look at the challenges. And this year's celebrations have a very interesting theme, which is our nurses, our future. Now, this brings me to the future nurses. She's a pre-intern, meaning she's a nurse in training, ready to go for internship. You're most welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I am called Nancha Shanita, as you have introduced me. I am a pre-intern nurse awaiting for deployment.
Now, when you talk about awaiting for deployment as an intern, to the best of my knowledge, you should have long been deployed as a pre-intern. Why are you still awaiting deployment?
Yes, so we should actually have been deployed a long time ago. That would be, we were supposed to start our internship on 3rd of April this year. But unfortunately, we haven't been able to start. On 1st April, we got a letter that we got through corridors that was going to the hospital directors that our deployment would actually be delayed for 2 more weeks. And the 2 weeks were actually ending last week. So the 2 weeks elapsed, and till now we have no clear communication from the Ministry of Health on when we are supposed to start our internship. We haven't even had a site about our deployment lists for us to be able to prepare and know that maybe I'm going to be placed in Masaka. I should prepare early to go to my site and serve the patient. There has been no formal communication at all from these people, despite us trying to engage them on several occasions. We have written petitions. We sent a petition to the Speaker of Parliament. We have also sent a letter to the President of Uganda. We have engaged our other MPs of our different areas on personal levels, because we feel like the issue is getting out of hand. The ministry keeps saying they don't have money for us, so they can't deploy us without money. Our humble plea is, why is it that in Uganda the health sector is not prioritized? Okay,
let's not go into that for a say, because he's just talked about the so many achievements they have been able to achieve. But I understand. Now, currently, what are you doing? Are you studying? Are you just, what is happening?
So currently what is happening, we are actually not studying. Most of the pre-interns actually finished their studies last year. And we've been awaiting, you know, the previous cohort finished their internship at the beginning of April. So we were supposed to actually be at the sites by 3rd April, but unfortunately it hasn't been the case. So we are just there. We are not students, we are not interns, we are just there at home, just seated with our degrees. And remember, in Uganda and even other countries, you are supposed to do that 1-year internship training for you to be able to get your license. It's with this license that you will be able to practice what you studied. So apparently, we are just there being taken as useless people in this country. Yet we have studied, we can provide a service, but we haven't yet been deployed. Yes.
Well, I see a bit of emotionless there, but it is really something that you can understand. They are no longer students, and yet they have not gone for the internship to have that practicing license, because the only way then that it can be allowed into service. Now, Justice, what does this mean? Because we know that greatly, this is a fact, that our health sector will depend a lot on interns. I've seen intern doctors, intern nurses. Is there a gap? And how should we address this situation?
Yeah, well, thank you very much. The major issue is that as I told you from the beginning, abroad, people could wish nurses to get more money than the doctors. I told you one time in Canada, Canadian doctors strike and say, why pay us more? Pay nurses. And they went on the street. And here in Uganda, it cannot happen. Now, or Africa, it cannot happen. But now, then, according to our regulation in the country, you go to school, finish, you are ready to go to look for a job. Like interns now, they have finished their degree, but they are not qualified to do anything, and they are not going to be licensed, and they are not going to be given anything. That's why they are just there. Why they are eager to go to work is to finish up that internship quickly, go and look for the job, even if it is outside the government. You do your practice, when you know that you have your papers.
Yes.
So right now you have qualified, and you are just there waiting for government to deploy you. Now, our systems before were very clear. Immediately you finish, you go and do the internship. Even immediately you finish internship, those days, the lorry is waiting for you to take you where you are going to work.
The golden days.
Yes, the golden days. Those are the golden days.
But when population was still few.
Yeah, the population.
But very little.
But you remember, even if the population was small, but the population now is too big that it needs manpower in health. We use the standards of the nurses ratio. It is not according to WHO in this country. You find that one nurse seeing 10,000 patients. You find that a doctor seeing so many. So now, the mistake that has come in is the priority of health sector. We were reviewing the budget of Ministry of Health, and we saw that it was just increased by 1% or 2%, which is very unfair. You put all the resources elsewhere and you leave health. Now, we are just wondering, where are we going? Now, you know the importance of interns. You don't employ more nurses on the ward. You don't employ more doctors on the ward. They are few, and the burnout is there. But these pre-interns and the doctors, they cover a lot of workload in the hospitals. So more especially, that's why they are given to go to referral hospitals where there is heavy work. And not only that, we want them to achieve the different conditions they have never seen. Because if you send her now to Masaka, she has been training here in Malago, for example. The conditions which is seen here are not in Masaka regional.
Yes.
So she will now learn that, hey, Gumba, this new condition is there. So if she is deployed in Karamoja and she gets that condition, she's able to counteract with the condition. So it is not about just that we finish and we go, but it's also to help manpower. It is manpower which we are crying.
Actually,
So,
I must say, in most of these referral hospitals, most of the people, the common people, the only difference is there are no specific labels, but they rely on interns. I must say, I've interacted with a number of doctors. That is, doctor. When you try, it's like, he'll tell you, I'm an intern. I've worked with a number of nurses. Like, nurse as well. I'm doing my internship here, and I must say, they do a great job. One, they are so zealous. They are so committed. Have not yet been eaten up by the system. Exactly. And its challenges and its challenges of longevity in the system. So it is so much a force that we need in our health sector. But maybe if you don't, well, senior justices here, what does it take for your deployment? Shanita.
Okay. So what does it take for our deployment? One, we are allocated by the Ministry of Health to the different referral hospitals and some private not-for-profit hospitals like Mengo, Lubaga. Yes. So what the ministry has to do is actually to plan for us whenever there is a a cohort of interns, they should actually be starting to plan for the incoming interns. Like how? They should be able to know the number of interns that are coming in, because their excuse has always been like, your numbers are always overwhelming, you guys, your numbers are increasing, so we cannot handle it. But they have a full year to plan for us. And then in any case, yes, we are increasing, but also the patients we are working on are still very high. Our ratio is actually lower compared to the patients we work on. So the number can't be the problem. The problem is the planning. The ministry has to plan for our allowances in that 1 year. The allowances to cater for our accommodation, to cater for our food, to cater for all our other expenses, including transport and medication in case we need. So the allowance isn't like, it's entitled to us, because trust me, if I'm hungry as Shanita, I won't be able to provide the best healthcare services to you. I need to also have a better living before I can actually start working on you. So all we request is Ministry of Health to always prioritize the interns, because we know they provide more than 70% of the healthcare in the facilities we have. So the ministry has to have proper planning, plan for our allowances, and also engage us where they see that there is a problem, maybe we cannot manage this. If the ministry had come out from the very first day and said, so there is this challenge, because we've been seated at home since last year. There is this challenge, we need to come on a round table and discuss the way forward. They bring on board our mother associations, they bring on board the councils, they also bring on board the pre-interns. Because apparently right now, as pre-interns, we are as if we are not stakeholders in this. We just get information through rumors. In case you contact someone, they tell you, but they don't want to even put it in writing. They just tell you the issue is beyond me, is beyond me. Why not involve us? Involve us and we find a way out of solving this. Because in the long run, it's our time that is going.
Now here Justice comes in the issue of allowances. I stand to be corrected. To the best of my knowledge, why is it only medical, people on the street, interns that get allowances? A number of people go for internship. And I don't see government involved in giving them allowances.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. As my colleague has said, is that the ministry has the will, but our major problem is the budgeting committees and the parliament. The parliament should know that such people exist, because previously the numbers were few and they were catered for very well. And ministry plans and sends the budget to the other side. They slash the budget. So now, the slashing of the budget brings all these problems. So our government, through the parliament, should realize that they are doing disaster to the Ministry of Health. That is one, which I know. Because the others, nobody has been complaining such. They have never been there for a long time. They have been shift quickly. Now, so the problem is our parliament to appropriate properly and say, Minister of Health, we have this issue also, put some money there, and they approve it. It will be very well. Minister of Health is willing. They also know that the procedures, interns must exist. So my blame could not go too much although planning was late, too much on Minister of Health. Maybe the blame which I can go to Ministry of Health is communication gap between the community, like now the interns and us, and then the other people and stakeholders, that there is no source of funds, there is no money for them. And then, but the major blame is the budget interference. So you give your budget, they say no, this budget is too much, slash. Now they will go for priorities. Two, an intern is still a student. An intern has finished the degree. It is going to procession. It is part of the training. It is part of the training. This allowance to that an intern is subsistence allowance. It is not the pay that we pay her as a salary. Now, if you send such an intern to Arua Hospital, where there is no house, because she has to do the internship in Arua Regional Referral. And these interns are supposed to be located in regional referral hospitals. If they, by choice, if we say that maybe in my district, I can go and do internship in my district in the hospital, where I will see only 2 patients, I'm not doing internship. And our law says that it should be in a regional referral where all the cases have been, they are handled there. So now we are saying this is subsistence allowance. You are in Kabale, you are from Kapchorwa, and you don't have anybody in Kabale. And you have just graduated, you have no job. And what is the survival? She is supposed to be smart. Of course, uniforms you can give as a government. But what about food? What about accommodation? We used to have what we call intern mess, intern houses, in regional referrals. But there were, those days, there were about 6-4 only. But now you find that you take these interns Kabale, you take more than 10 interns in Kabale. In regional referral here, you take 15. Now, the colonial structure, that's why I'm complaining every day that if the structure of this government or the structure of health is not properly structured, then we shall continue being in a mess. So we are saying that you will restructure Ministry of Health properly, put infrastructure because of the population, put houses of the doctors, put houses. You remember here in Mulago, there is what we call doctors' village, yes, where doctors could go there and they are trainees, they are interns, they are given a very nice house. They pay the bills, the electricity, government used to pay. Yeah,
socialization was catered for.
Yes, but these days you pay your own bill, water, you pay everything. Now, and the houses are few. Other doctors rent in Wandagea. Others are renting in Makera University, the other side. Now, how do you expect this intern? So that allowance is quite important for subsistence, for making this lady smart, making this gentleman smart to attend to a patient. And for us, we can't attend a patient with just street clothes. We need to be smart and attach the patient. Then on top of the allowances, you remember that these are issues of allowances, broad issues, until the president make a directive. The directive was an intern should earn a half of the senior. For me now, if I earn 4 million shillings Uganda money, an intern who is going under the same as a nurse should earn 2 million. Half of my salary, I'm a senior. So she should earn. But this is not the case again. The case was highlighted, the nurses were highlighted. They put nurses 1.5, yet it is 4 million which I earn, and they put them 1.5.
It's actually supposed to be 4.4. So half is going to be 2.2 for the exam nurses. So in addition to what he has said, we are actually not students. We have finished our degrees and we are waiting for this 1-year training. That is to help us to get exposure, more exposure. For example, if I've been training in Mbarara and I have given internship in Mulago, of course in Mulago I'll see more cases or better different cases than I've been seeing in Mbarara. This is going to improve my experience and also my skills. So the 1-year internship training is actually a year of gaining experience. We are providing a service. Secondly, you said how is our internship different from the internship of other courses?
Yeah, because I remember last time when interns had these issues, one of the ministers whose name I want to mention said, why don't we had a proposal to scrap these allowances? Because after university, I mean, when I was doing my internship, no one was paying me.
Okay.
No one pays you. I mean, either your parent or something or that. But holding government and saying it is internship, these allowances, failing to deploy someone for a period of 1 year and get a license to practice because of allowances then?
Yes, so our internship is actually different from the internship of those other courses. Most of those other courses do their internship during school.
Yes.
They do it counteracting with their studies.
Yes.
Now for us the case is different. We usually have trainings when we are still in school, and we might have placements that may be equated to the internship of other courses. Now this 1 year internship training is usually, how do I say, an intense training. In that 1 year you're not supposed to do anything else apart from focusing on the training. You're required to be in hospital 24/7. So as a person who has graduated and have finished my course, where am I going to get extra money to cater for my fees? You get what I'm saying? Those other people's internship is
They're
not
still in school.
Yeah, they're still in school, and also it's not
And it's part
as,
of a requirement for you to graduate.
yes, and it's not as intense as ours. I tell you, we be on wards 24 hours, 48 hours, even when you're sleeping and they say there is an emergency, whether you are still sleeping, you have to wake up and go to the hospital and make sure that you work. So there is no way I can work on an empty stomach. Like, let's be realistic as Ugandans and the government.
Well, time is flying, and of course, I must give room for the next program. I'll give you just a minute or less to get your concluding remark.
So in conclusion, this is a message to the government of Uganda and all the relevant stakeholders. We are requesting you to deploy us as soon as possible, because we have spent a lot of time at home. Secondly, we request in the contracts that you're going to give us to sign for our internship to put the rightful allowances as per the directive of the president.
Well, Justice, let's wind up this.
Okay, thank you very much for hosting us, and we are grateful. And we are saying we are welcoming all the nurses and all stakeholders and everybody to Uganda Nurses and International Nurses Day celebrations in Arua City. Secondly is that the challenges, government should look into it. We still have challenges, as much as I mentioned many achievements, but we still have challenges. Challenge number one is this internship. But the allowances, which I can summarize on that, is that we are different from others because we handle human beings. That makes us different. We are different because we are going to handle human beings. The other people handle paperwork. And then too, they do their internship within their locality. Within their locality. But for us, we are transferred. You are posted, and you have no choice to determine where you are going. The internship committee sits back at the ministry and say, just as you are going to Mbale Regional Referral. I am from Arua City, but they have posted me the other side. So those are things that makes us different. The minister who said that did not know that those others who do internship do it within their jurisdictions in town here, in your township, anywhere you want. But for us, you are posted. 2, we are handling human beings. 3, we need to survive where we are going. That is the issue of the allowances. Lastly, which I want to communicate to everyone, please be smart, on duty, go early, don't be absent, care for patients, do everything according to the law, and make sure you be there for the patient. We thank you for listening to us, and we thank you for supporting us. We thank the government, and we also thank His Excellency the President for coming to Arua next week.
Well, thank you so much. Justice Chiplangat, who happens to be the president of the Uganda Nurses and Midwives Union. 12th May is the day when we'll be celebrating International Day of Nurses, and he's invited everybody. His Excellency is expected to be the chief guest and bless the ceremony. Also, thank you so much. That is Nancha Shanita, who happens to be a pre-intern nurse, for bringing out the plight. We hope that their cry, their plea will be answered, because really their absence for deployment creates a gap in the health sector of this country, and it's an ordinary Ugandan that suffers. Have a lovely day. See you tomorrow, God willing. For God and my country, may the Lord bless Uganda.